Advice, regrets, and tips straight from people who've been there. Whether you're about to start high school, graduate, or move on, these stories could seriously change how you think. I dug through hundreds of posts to find the most detailed ones.
Redditors, how's life after high school? The important thing about life after high school is that every single construct of who you are, who everyone else is, and where it fits into the social hierarchy is gone. Poof. Over. Sometimes it takes a long time, like years, for this to sink, and realize it happened in one moment. You are not bound by any of that. Life after high school is complete freedom. It's honestly such a relief. I've been out of school for a few years now. I'm noticing that. In high school, if someone talked to me about Pokemon, for example, I would have thought, what a weirdo. Now, if you brought up Pokemon, I'd get a big rush of memories from playing it as a kid and be able to talk for ages about it. Hell, now that I think of it, I might go look for my old Game Boy LOL. Pretty cool when you can pick up an interest without that fear of judgment from peers. Expensive. The people who peaked in high school tend to be the ones who had no real idea what to do after senior prom and graduation. One girl from my high school seemed to be on the intercom announcements every week while I was a freshman. She was on the homecoming planning committee. She was in student government. She was yearbook editor. 2 years later, Dad came home and asked what I thought of her. She had applied for a job as a secretary at his office, and he wondered if I knew her. I told her what I told you. She would probably make a fantastic secretary. It was surprising she applied for that job, though. She seemed like the type of person who would have been getting a 4-year degree at that point. She didn't get hired. The decision wasn't Dad's alone. His office decided to go with someone more experienced. Man, it sucks. First, they put you in a chair like Total Recall and modify your brain memories. Next thing you know, they give you a job based on whatever they implant. And then every time you switch careers, they wipe your brain and implant new memories. I don't even know what I did for the past 15 years until my current job. Good luck. Hope you get something better than a minimum wage job. Edit. On a good note, they do allow you to remember that they've done this to you. You just can't remember why or when. And they won't tell you what your previous memories or life was. Edit. 2. Also, always wear a wet towel wrapped around your head so they can't track you. Hell on earth. That's a bit harsh. Probably not true for everyone. For me, everyone had an expectation of what I was going to do and who I was going to be when I got out. I lived up to absolutely none of them and disappointed pretty much everyone. Who has ever had the misfortune of meeting me? High school isn't necessarily fun or somewhere you like to be, but you'll learn to miss the mindset of it. What I mean is, you can tell yourself that whatever it is about your life you don't like will get better once you're out, you'll move away from your sucky home life, or you'll get X job and make a lot of money, or you'll grow out of your awkward phase and become attractive. There's all this hope when you're in high school. Your whole life is ahead of you. When you get out and time goes by and things still suck and you've accomplished none of what you thought you would, that hope is just gone. There is no more X will get better after Y. You just learn to come to terms with the things you hate about life. And if you're strong enough to just keep going, then you might manage to make a sort of life for yourself. And if you're not, then you might not be alive to leave a Reddit comment like this. I'm surprised by all the negative responses here. I would say life gets a lot better. You get to be whoever you want to be and not who your peers think you should be. You get to choose who your friends are, rather than whoever happens to be in school with you. And while educating yourself and getting a satisfying job are big responsibilities, you're repaid so many times over by the freedoms this gives you. For me personally, traveling and seeing the world is a big drive. Or think about it the other way around. If high school was the highlight of your life, you're in for 60, 70 years of misery. It depends on the choices you have made and choices you will make. If high school is the greatest years of your life, that is sad. Make good choices. Get some sort of after-high school education or training. Life is expensive. Get some sort of support system. Life is stressful. If you put in some effort, it will pay off in the long run. I enjoyed high school, but don't miss it. I put myself through college, and my life is much more full after high school. Turns out absolutely nothing they tell you about life after high school is true. You don't have to go to college, and if you do, you're absolutely not on your own. Unlike high school teachers, you can email or even just talk in person with your professor to ask for help, and by and large they will, because they're people who understand that there's more going on in your life than just their class. If you need an extension on something, unless it's a major project with a solid deadline, so long as you have a reason, they'll absolutely help you out. Work is much the same, provided your coworkers don't need to compete for sales or anything. Like that, you'll almost always have at least one person there who'll be willing to help you get a difficult task done. Math teachers are particularly full of shit. By virtue of pretty much always having your phone on you, you'll always have access to a calculator. Hell, every phone I've had over the last 12 years, 3 flip phones, a texting phone, and 2 smartphones, have all had calculators built in, the smartphones having particularly powerful ones that can do algebra and trigonometry. There is absolutely no reason why you need to carve quadratic formulas and other such shit into your brain just to get through life. If your job requires a lot of complex math, you're either a scientist or a developer, or your job will require that you have a phone or calculator on you at all times. They may just assign you one owned by the company. Academically, terrible and going downhill. I grew up gifted, meaning I don't have to spend as much care and attention to my studies as the rest of my peers to achieve the same spectacular grades. Thanks to that, I started my current engineering degree by failing half of my subjects during the first semester. Socially, maturing, and more headroom for better friends. While I'm regressing back to my elementary school levels of a loud introvert with lack of friends, it doesn't sound as bad. I have manageable friend groups that not only respected my need for lack of socializing, but also would take me out to hang out sometimes, which I very much enjoyed. Financially, highly expensive, as my parents trusted me enough to handle my own expenses. We grew up poor, so I have an even bigger respect for them as I purchased my own things to survive and finding out how much expensive it is to be. Mentally, I'm counting the days to see a therapist to curb my ADHD problems. Physically, I'm gaining over 20 kilograms since my last high school weighting sessions. I'm also noticeably lazier to waking up properly and had barely enough spark like I used to. Want to know a secret? In the 90s, schools started receiving more funding for the amount of gifted children. The end result was a ton of kids who were even slightly above average being labeled gifted in one discipline or another. If you can't finish a degree easily with minimal effort, you're likely not as gifted as you think. Don't like these answers? Join the military and get a wacky bonus level before you move on. And start real life. You'll have so much insight to what you want to do with your life after. Fair warning though, once you start, you can't move to the real life level till you finish the military one. Ali.